Welcome back, folks. Today, we got a little bit to cover here. A few things going on. I figure I would open up today's, I guess, briefing podcast, wherever you'd put it. We'd open this up with China protesting after the U.S. jets shoot down a suspected spy balloon. Here's what CNN is saying. China has reacted to the United States to shoot down its high-altitude balloon, saying that it reserves the right to use necessary means to deal with similar situations. Alright, so the U.S. military fighter jets on Saturday shot down the Chinese high-altitude balloon over the Atlantic, just off the coast of South Carolina. These are the latest developments as collected by CNN. So President Joe Biden on Saturday approved the shooting of the balloon, telling CNN that his administration was going to take care of it on Friday. Or on Friday, the Pentagon said the balloon did not pose a military or political threat. Another bullet point was the U.S. They downed it Saturday. The Navy and the Coast Guard are scouring the ocean and the area surrounding for just any debris. The remains of the balloon will be taken to the FBI lab in Quantico for analysis. The Chinese government on Sunday, or today, issued a statement expressing its strong dissatisfaction and protest against Washington's actions. China clearly asked the U.S. to handle it properly in a calm, professional, and restrained manner. You can read the statement on China's foreign ministry, but China will resolutely safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of relevant companies while reserving the right to make further necessary reaction. So, and the head of the China's weather service has been relieved of his duties. So the Chinese state media announced on Saturday that in a move seen by some analysts as an attempt to shore up Beijing's position that the high-altitude balloon flying over the continental U.S. Was of civilian nature, mainly for meteorological purposes. So they did relieve the weather. They did relieve the Weather Service's minister of his duties for allowing the balloon to, allowing the balloon to, be released from their care and floating into U.S. airspace, causing all sorts of mischief along the way. It's some of the hot takes. Was quite interesting, to say the least. But, yeah, so that was Chinese Weather Service minister. The head of it had been relieved of his duties. Most likely, he's been disappeared. Rest in peace, that poor manager. So... hours after the Chinese balloon was shot down, Colombian Air Force authorities detected an object with characteristics similar to the same balloon in its airspace on February the 3rd. More balloon sightings were also reported, including 3 instances during the Trump administration, when China briefly flew a surveillance balloon over the continental United States. Taiwan voiced its opinion on the matter, saying that the incident should not be tolerated by the international community. So those are pretty much just mostly the closest facts. I did look in on the Chinese story that, yes, it was true. They did relieve the Weather Service minister from his job. So he did get, ousted from that position. And yes, I kind of, in a way, do believe that it is just a weather balloon, considering where it started from pretty much way up above the Arctic Circle and around the Alaskan area. More or less, probably was approved to be where it was originally supposed to be, and it just got away from them. I mean, looking at the balloon, it had solar panels on it, but, it didn't look like to have any self-propelled functionality to it. Meaning that, I didn't find, that it would float up to a predetermined altitude and just kind of hang around. And then there it will stay until it either deflates or whatever. So, but if we can segue over to this story. So, for the first time, China has revealed the specifications of its YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile, which was first observed last April during a test launch from a Type 55 cruiser, or Type 55 destroyer, depending on who you talk to, alongside an air-launched and land-based hypersonic missiles. The YJ-21 signals China's nascent of hypersonic weapons triad for conventional deterrence. This week, China's South China Morning Post reported that the People's Liberation Army Strategic Force Support Force, so the PLASSF, published an article in its official WebBio account that states that the YJ-21 missile can travel at a speed about Mach 10 or 3,400 meters per second. It also claims that any known shipboard defense system cannot intercept the missile at that speed, and that even without an explosion, its tremendous kinetic energy will have devastating effects on its target. The PLA SSF article also claims that the YJ-21's introduction marks a significant evolution in China's anti-access area denial A2AD capabilities, highlighting that the operational flexibility and survivability advantages of a sea-based launch platform, such as the Type 55 cruiser. The PLA SSF's release of information on the YJ-21 may serve as a deliberate warning against the U.S. and its allies after then U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's controversial visit to Taiwan last August. The unveiling of the YJ-21's export version at last year's Zhuhai Air Show designated the YJ-21E indicates that the domestic version of the YJ-21 is no longer China's most advanced model of the type, and that it may have more capable missiles in its inventory. The SCMP article notes that since it was the PLA SSF that released the information about the YJ-21, the missile relies on satellite guidance provided by the PLA SSF to hit its targets, This implies that the YJ-21 is reserved as a strategic weapon against U.S. carriers, the most critical assets of U.S. force projection in the Pacific. Asia Times has noted the integration of the YJ-21 on the Type 55 cruiser makes the class one of the most heavily armed warships in the world. The 128 VLS cells, or with 128 VLS cells arranged in two silos of 64 cells each, a 130 millimeter HPJ-38 main gun, a Yu-8 anti-submarine rockets, and Yu-7 lightweight torpedoes launched from two triple torpedo tubes. Brent Eastwood mentions in a December 2021 article from 1945 that with the YJ-21, the Type 55 cruiser will become one of the People's Liberation Navy's most capable assets. Furthermore, Eastwood notes that the Type 55 cruiser, the Type 52D destroyer, and the upcoming Next Generation frigate will be integrated into China's carrier battle groups, which would operate in the East China Sea, South China Sea, and the Taiwan Strait. At the strategic level, China's emerging hypersonic weapons, the triad, may align with its evolving concept of conventional deterrence, which seeks to deter U.S. and its allies from intervening in a Taiwan contingency. Michael Chase and Arthur Chan state in 2016 book China Strategic Deterrent Concepts that China views conventional deterrence as an essential complement to nuclear deterrence. Chase and Chan note that Chinese military publications state that conventional deterrence is increasingly becoming more powerful due to the information of the conventional strike capabilities. They also say that conventional weapons are more applicable to a broader range of circumstances, have greater flexibility than nuclear weapons, and are not subject to political constraints of using nuclear arms. Richard Weitz, in a January 2022 article in China, U.S. Focus, outlines 5 possible Taiwan scenarios that include China using military force to seize all of Taiwan, a limited operation to blockade Taiwan and capture its frontline islands, deliberate manipulation of risks in a squeeze and relax strategy and avoidance of conflict altogether through transparency and confidence-building measures. All but the last scenario, conventional weapons such as China's hypersonic weapons will play a vital role. From an outright seizure of Taiwan to conveying the threat of force and rising costs to discourage the U.S. and allied intervention on behalf of Taiwan. Indeed, China's unveiling of its YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile may be essential in its efforts to build a flexible, conventional deterrent against U.S. and allied intervention in a Taiwan scenario. Besides having the ship-based YJ-21 in its Type 55, China's strategic bombers may also carry a air-launched variant. A defense analyst, H.I. Sutton, has previously reported on an air-launched variant of the YJ-21 carried by People's Liberation Army's Air Force H-6 strategic bomber. As noted by Asia Times, air-launched hypersonic and anti-ship missiles improve China's standoff capabilities against U.S. bases and warships in the Pacific. With an air launch potentially increasing the YJ-21's already formidable performance, with the H-6 bomber adding 3,500 or more kilometers to the missile's range. In such a configuration, the YJ-21 may be employed against the U.S. and Allied forces in faraway locations such as Okinawa or Guam. China's sea and air-launched hypersonic anti-ship missiles can also complement its land-based arsenal of such weapons, as noted by Missile Threat. China's road-mobile DF-17 was first spotted in 2014 and may have entered PLA service in 2019. The report notes that the DF-17 is estimated to have a range between 1,800 to 2,500 kilometers and is capable of extreme maneuvers and can reach up to Mach 5 in its glide phase. Notably, Chinese state media outlet Global Times has previously reported that the DF-17 was among the missiles China fired in a show of force to protest Pelosi's visit to Taiwan last year. Those launches may have intended to show that China can effectively box in Taiwan with long-range precision fires along a persistent blockade of warships and submarines. The emergence of hypersonic anti-ship missiles puts the importance of carriers as the mainstays of modern naval warfare into question. As noted by John Harper in a 2019 article in the National Defense Magazine, hypersonic missiles such as the YJ-21, unlike conventional ballistic missiles, can maneuver during their terminal phase to evade shipboard missile defenses. Harper also notes that while existing anti-ship missiles can be highly maneuverable, they typically fly at subsonic speeds, unlike hypersonic and anti-ship missiles that give little to no window for their targets to react. And this was an article written by Gabrielle Honderala on the 4th of February of 2023 on the website Asia Times. Alright, folks. I think that'll do it for this video. Let me know what you think of it. And let me know what you think of all this talk about the Chinese weather balloon. And let me know what you think about China's current position in the South China Sea. Let me know what you think about their missiles. Basically, you know, just everything that's going on over on that side of the hemisphere. So don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this, or just more videos in general. And I will see you in the next one. Try to have a good evening, folks. Enjoy.